And hey, we are here tonight. I set up my set a little bit different tonight here, folks. Welcome to tonight's Incredichat. I'm just queuing up everything on social media, but welcome to tonight's Incredichat. We got a bunch of great announcements to talk about. We'll talk about them throughout the show, but tonight we're just talking comics and more with some friends of ours. Let me bring in Sarah and Jane. Good to have you with us tonight. Let me bring in our first guest. First time guest, long-time supporter. He's popped into the chats. One of our great friends from Alterniverse Comics over in Hyde Park. We got Anthony. What's up, Anthony?
How's it going?
Anthony is with us tonight, and he's coming live from Hyde Park. And then also we have Ray Felix. Wake up, Ray.
Hey, what's up? How's it going, guys?
Ray, it is shared on the that. Okay, cool. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, anyways, welcome to Alterniverse. Welcome to Incredichat. Anthony, this is the first time we've had you on the show. You've been with us, in person. We've been to your shop several times.
There's an echo. Somebody has a window open.
Let me see. Is it me?
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. That's better. Anthony, you've been with us several times at all of our shows and all of our events. And you run a great comic shop over there in Hyde Park. So, I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to give you the screen. Can you give us the tour of Alterniverse in Hyde Park?
I can't because I'm stuck. This is the camera. I'm stuck.
Oh, it's the camera there. Okay. All right. So it's the camera there. What's that?
Can't really move the screen now.
Gotcha. Can you turn the camera around?
No, it's mounted.
No. And who's that behind you? Somebody just popped on. So I'm going to give you the full screen, anyways. So, folks, Anthony, let me give him this. Where's the photo? So, look at that wall of books behind Anthony. So, if you're in the Hudson Valley and you need comic books, Alterniverse is truly one of the best places to go for comic books in the Hudson Valley. And again, like I said, Anthony has been a big support of ours for a long time. Echo again. Oh, that was my fault that time. But no, Anthony has everything. And Anthony, I gave Ray the solo layout. Actually, let me put him on back. He stepped away. So tell us a little bit about what's going on over at Alterniverse.
Right now, we're playing Magic. We do Magic events. We started up some events. That's why everybody's wearing masks. But right now, behind me, we've got the CGCs, as you mentioned. So this is something I think that it's a service that we offer, and it's something that I think a lot of the other stores don't necessarily have. So if you're ever into graded books or, having them graded, it's something to probably help you with. Yeah.
And what's cool? What's cool also is you guys have some alternative exclusive books here. This is one of them.
You got them. I got them.
Well, I got one of them. I didn't get the other one yet. This is Murder Hobo #1 by Ryan.
Yeah, the punk rock Ryan. He couldn't be here with us tonight, but of course we want to talk about it. He signed this copy. See his signature. So I like his signature even.
Well, hold on. I did the wrong thing. Show it again. There it is.
So, yeah, these are signed copies. This is Alterniverse exclusive, so it has our logo on there as well on the back. It is a wrap cover. So he did 2 covers for the price of 1.
There you go.
The other character from Murder Hobo. I know it's a little violent.
but it's fun violent.
Yeah, it's an adult comic. It's there's a murder hobo in every Dungeons and Dragons group, right? So this is the story of said murder hobos. There's 4 murder hobos. One is an infomaniac. One is an old man on the cover. So this is chronicling their adventure.
And then the other book you guys have.
We did the Vampirella. So
there you go. Here for that one. Show that one up too.
Yeah, this is by local artist Steve Pisaria, and again, he signed this in gold bottom. I really like these guys' signatures. And Ryan did it in silver, and
nice.
He signed his in gold on the bottom there. But this was limited edition of 500. And it's going to 20. And the only way to get those is, of course, to actually come to the shop or buy them off our website. So we have all 500 copies. Yeah. And Ryan, in particular, like he had done The Last Ronin. So that was like basically comic book of the year. And he had gotten the variant cover for the first issue of that series. I don't know if are we getting echo and stuff? I'm sorry, there's a bunch of people in here.
It might be all the people talking too, and that's fine. I mean, listen, we're live in a comic shop tonight. What better place for us to be than being live in a comic shop? I'm gonna bring Ray back in here. Ray's back with us. Ray's like on his new Trumpland book or OG. So let's talk a little bit comic news. I mean, there's been a lot of cool things coming out. I saw that they added, in regards to Marvel stuff, and I'm just thinking MCU-wise, they added a new actress to She-Hulk.
Oh, really? She-Hulk.
Yeah, well, there's
not those China She-Hulks, are they? Is the China She-Hulk versions, or?
I don't know who the actress is that's playing She-Hulk offhand, but I know Mark Ruffalo.
Mark got it. He got the joke.
I don't know. My goodness. But did you guys watch Loki yet?
Oh yes,
no.
I saw it.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, or yes spoilers?
No spoilers.
Why not? We can spoil it.
It's past Wednesday, right? Like
if they didn't see it by now, they need to step up their game or something. That thing dropped like 48 hours ago.
Exactly. I'll have more than enough time.
I didn't watch it yet.
You didn't watch it yet? Oh.
I did not watch it, but I'm excited. And I heard, from what I did hear, though, is that they said there's going to be a lot of surprises in this show as it goes forward, which is interesting. Yeah. So, because I mean, he's traveling through time and dimensions and whatever. So I am kind of curious to see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, I think that Doctor Strange is going to end up being an unofficial Avengers 6 movie. That's what I think it is, because you have the WandaVision and now Loki. Looks like they're going to tie into that.
So you think Loki's going to tie into Doctor Strange as well? Oh
yeah, and maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier too. You never know, but I think more directly, it looks like WandaVision and Loki are going to be exclusively linked into this.
That's interesting.
And Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
And Loki dies, of course. Just put it out there.
Loki dies. What?
He's already dead.
He's already dead.
Loki's died several times. This is correct. What's
that?
Just to ruin it for everybody, he's dead.
Yeah.
One of the virgins. And I think at some point soon we're going to be seeing that they're going to be dropping the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie too, from what I'm understanding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Speaking of trailers, did everybody see the He-Man trailer drop?
I was going to say that. The new He-Man
trailer? I haven't seen that, no.
Masters of the Universe from Kevin Smith. They showed that today on Netflix.
Live action or cartoon?
Oh, no, cartoon.
Oh, okay.
And
this Tyler pulled out for a hero. They're playing Bonnie Tyler's.
Yeah.
So, 10 years of Marvel movies, you didn't get it.
It's going to be Snoochie Bootchie's He-Man, right?
So Anthony, you saw the trailer. What do you think? What do you think about this modern or continuation, if you will, of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe? What do you think?
You had another guest on, and she was talking about that being serious, like it being a serious take on something that's kind of corny. You know what I mean? And I think that's what this is going to be. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have Mark Hamill playing Skeletor, so I think he could say, I just want to be evil and do the Skeletor thing. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure how silly they're gonna delve. I think it's going to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark than the original He-Man. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. Yeah.
Mark Hamill's going to be Skeletor. That's cool.
Yeah, he did show a giant fist created by Skeletor fly out to hit He-Man in the cartoon. So it was like, okay, there's some camp and silliness obviously still there.
In a giant fist like the cock knocker, like the.
Yeah, right. It's bigger than this is bigger than He-Man. So.
But from what I was reading is because this is a direct continuation of the Filmation series.
They say 40 years ago. So like yeah, they're definitely. I mean, obviously it's happening right after the end of the series, but you know, they do mention that this 40 years ago this was on television. So this is the continuation of that. Yeah. So I think it's more of like a spiritual sequel, and they'll probably finish it. Maybe they finish it. It's going to be in 2 parts instead of just like part 1. So obviously it's going to be a 2-parter. And I guess it's right. How many episodes for each season? I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know. And what's interesting too is from what I read. So it's a direct sequel, but I guess something's going to happen that's going to be I guess I don't want to say devastate, but there's going to be an event that affects the characters, which obviously probably takes them to this more mature, more darker, if you will, wave of events, you know? So that's going to be interesting. Because even like Orko, you see him in the trailer, and Orko's like a little dark looking guy. He's not the cute little, I got him here. He's not. Where's my work?
Ray, you got toys? You got a what exactly is that behind you there?
This is a mannequin, and then these are my hot toys here.
Oh yes.
And then a bunch of original artwork from different artists.
Do you use those hot toys as models?
You know what? I tried one time and it just didn't work. I wish I could. I don't really draw a lot of Marvel characters and DC characters. But I do love posing them and putting them in different scenarios. It's like meditation, like, you know, instead of combing sand, I like pose them.
Oh, your action figures around. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like every few days I'll move it, pose it, change it up. But I was getting too crazy. I had over 43 of them, that I acquired in like 2 years. So I had to get rid of some of them. It's still.
And Ray, you've customized some as well, right?
Yeah, and I started selling my customizations. So I sold 2 Red Skulls that I made, because Red Skull on the market is very expensive. So I started making my own Red Skulls, and I sold a WandaVision the other day.
Oh, really?
And a Black Widow. So now I'm doing everything that's related to the movies coming out, and the TV shows. So that means I have to do like a customized Loki next.
Yeah.
The TV show dropped.
Do you have any customizations that you can show us there?
Maybe one in progress. Let me see.
Well, Ray's looking for that. Anthony, you guys got a lot of toys over there at Alterniverse now too, right?
Yeah, I mean, even thanks to you, we got a bunch of Marvel Legends in, so we still have some of the original Marvel Legends all the way back to Series 1. So, you know, we've got some 20-year-old action figures on the wall still. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And you guys, and for Star Wars fans, you guys got a ton of Star Wars stuff too, which is awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
I picked up a couple of things. Did you see the announcements from Hasbro? Hasbro yesterday. They have a whole bunch of new Black Series figures and the Vintage Collection figures.
Yes. Yeah.
They finally have Bo-Katan coming out.
Yep.
And Vintage, and that blue guy, and then the pig guy who I just picked up. I picked up the pig guy in like the retro style, and I'm gonna get it.
Which pig guy? Are we talking about like one of the Ugnaughts from the original movies, or is it?
Nick Nolte character. I don't know what his name is, but you know, I have spoken. I just call him the pig guy.
Yeah.
I have spoken. But they're putting out a cool Vintage Collection version of him. They're putting out a Hoth soldier, and they got some cool figures. Black Series. They're doing a whole Rogue One. Bib Fortune is coming to both lines. I'm very back. They have Lobot coming out. I can't wait to get my Lobot.
I love Lobot. I remember buying a Lobot in Woolworth when I was a kid. I think it cost me like $2.19 or something like that.
Wow.
Woolworth?
Yeah, this is when Empire Strikes Back first dropped. I saved up some money and bought a Lobot. He was the only figure that you could find from the movie because nobody wanted him.
Yeah, right. They didn't want the bald guy.
Yeah, they didn't want the bald guy, and then the other one was the the Cloud City Cloud. Oh, I love that figure. It's a great figure.
There's Lopez.
Yeah. The Cloud City Commander or something like that, like one of the soldiers, like
Yeah, I got him too.
You got a big helmet.
You look like Juan Valdez. So these are some of my customs. Just fell off.
What is the
So there goes
okay.
This is my Ed Norton Hulk, because I wasn't really a fan of.
Hold on, let me give you the full screen. Go ahead.
This is Ed Norton Hulk. I actually designed the shirt, sewed the shirt from a T-shirt, believe it or not. So it's hemmed. He has like a little collar. I really loved the Ed Norton Hulk. I thought he was great. This is a custom Carol Danvers.
Oh wow! That outfit?
This outfit, I actually I kit bashed it from a Disney one and then changed the body and the head.
Wow.
This is a custom Red Skull. It was one of my latest ones, but I just broke his foot. I'm so mad. So, so this is one of my comic book Red Skulls. Usually I'll paint them more realistic. And this is Nuke.
Who is that?
Nuke from the Daredevil comic books back in the day, with the red, white, and blue face. He was a Frank Miller character, but the face is actually Tom Berenger. So it's like a Vietnam. And the upcoming Scarlet Witch, not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow movie. This is in progress. I don't have all her weapons. One of them just fell out of her hand. But I just started constructing.
Wait, what's going on there? She's got a lot of cleavage.
You think so? Usually I zip it lower when you take pictures. And then, it's like this is a pepper pots that I composed. So there's pepper pots.
So let me ask you, where do you get all these bodies? Where do you get all these heads? How does that work?
China. So I buy the body parts from China. The Scarlet Witch I wish I had to show you, but I sold it. I actually made her costume from scratch and got my sister to sew it. So I'm a terrible sew. I'm a good pattern maker, but I'm not good at sewing. Like I never learned the sewing machine. I should have, because my family, have a background in tailoring, but I never got that skill. That was all the girls in the family did that, So.
And the Scarlet Witch was the Scarlet Witch from the new show. You made it.
She had the Marvel comic book character costume. Yeah. So I designed that, and it looked just like I got a head from China of what's her actress's name again?
With Olsen.
Yeah. So, and it was dynamite. It sold, sold quick. So I ordered another one, so I'm going to make another one and make another costume. I told my sister, get on board. People are buying like 1/6 scale clothing and stuff. So, and it's fun to do. It's actually I made fun of a guy who was doing it in California when I went to San Diego for the first time. He had all these toys in a garage full of hot toys, and I was like, what's the point of having a garage full of hot toys if none of them are displayed? They're in their boxes. He was like, because I'm a real collector. And I was like, no. I said, you're just a hoarder.
Well, that's a good question, and I'll ask you that, Anthony, too. So obviously Ray opens his toys. So you have all those. You have great Marvel Legends. You got great Star Wars stuff there. I mean, what do you think? Sealed or open?
Toys would be played with. So again, like when you'd spoken to the toy collector, she had said the same thing, right? Like maybe you put them aside, maybe you play with them. So it depends. I mean, I think a lot of the packaging is a big part of it too. So packaging is really nice. You want to just kind of hang it on your wall and display it. That's one way to do it. But I think toys can be played with. Like I mean, even the figures you just showed, right? They're articulated. So you want to pose them, right? That's a part of it, right? Like the transform.
Exactly. And each one to customize one of these is about almost $100 each. So you want to be able to
right? Like enjoy
exactly.
it. Yeah. And Mike, we had spoken about you're getting the ship from the Mandalorian.
The Razor Crest, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a really big box. So it's a nice picture. I mean, I'm sure it's a nice box, but you got to put it out, right? You're gonna make like a diorama, right? Like, yeah, do it up.
Well, and that's the thing. And like we were just talking before, so we got the Razor Crest is coming out in the fall, and they just obviously they have plenty of Mandalorians and the baby, I mean, I have Cara Dune, I have Grief Karaga, I got what the hell is the bad guy? I can't think of the bad guy's name offhand now. Oh my god. I'm a terrible Star Wars fan. But the bad guy with the dark saber, I got him. Bo-Katan, the pig guy, Quill, I think his name is. But yeah, you want to put all these figures inside the Razor Crest, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like how much fun it would be? Oh, here's a box, and here's individual packages of figures.
Are these the 3-inch figures or the 6-inch figures?
These are the 3 and 3.75, right?
Oh, okay, cool. Let's see it.
Yeah. What? Let's see what. I would love to show you the Razor Crest. I don't have it yet.
Oh, okay.
I would love it. No, I mean, I'll take you guys over since we're talking toys and stuff now. Like, you've shown us our hot toys. Like, I got my little my Star Wars stuff here. I mean, yeah, look, and I mean, this is a mixture of vintage. The lighting here is not the best, but this is a mixture of vintage and that's all. That's Jabba's set, man.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And it's a mixture of everything. Like, I still have this stuff from when I was a kid, and I mix and match with it. Like, it's fun. A buddy of mine just hooked me up with this the other day. I thought this is a cool.
A do-bag.
The do-bag, yeah. Oh. My son has a bunch of these too, but he doesn't have the do-bag.
Yeah. I picked it. Listen, here's a great find that I got over at Alterniverse. A Star Tours.
Ooh.
I picked that up. Guys, cool figures over at Alterniverse. Whoever's watching today, if you want some Star Wars figures.
I've got to figure out how to use the camera.
What's that?
I'm positioned. I'm sorry. This is.
Is that the one from like the Disney play thing or what?
Well, that one is. But this I bought him years ago. He's an expense. This is Rex, the pilot. He's worth quite a bit now.
Really? Wow. Put him back in the box. No.
He didn't come with the box. I bought him open on eBay because that was the cheapest way to get him.
Oh wow, yeah.
That was really the cheapest way to get him. But I have a mixture of all the vintage stuff and the new stuff looks all great together. Here's a hot figure right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I think they should do a 12-inch of her, but it's like I don't understand how. I really don't like how people just cancel people based on their opinions. It's like I thought we lived in a free society, in a free country where people are able to have controversial thoughts without being canceled. This is America. It's not Russia. And I feel like this, we're having this, what China went through this during communism. It was like the Cultural Revolution. I think that's what America is going through right now via social media, is a cultural revolution where they want to,
well,
you got
to be careful what you're going to say.
I'll say whatever I want. I don't care.
No, well, I'm not saying you.
Dropped off of Facebook.
Since I'm over here looking at the Lucas stuff, the Lucasfilm stuff, these are some of my favorite toys that came out, and I would love to see them do more of these.
I'm a big Miles fan, so.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Miles looks cool.
California.
Yeah.
He does. He talks. Okay, I didn't know he said all that.
Cool.
That's
a little stereotypical the way he looks like he's about to do a high five.
Right?
That's it. Let's call it cancel police. Let's cancel that doll.
This is a cool figure that came out a couple of years ago. I'm not opening this one.
Oh yeah, nice. And you got him to sign it, huh? Was that at Adventures you had that signed?
What's that?
Did you have that signed at Great Adventures?
Terrificon, right?
All the times we were with John, but yeah, I mean, a great figure. Like Mattel's hit and miss with some of their figures, but they do this one. I thought was cool. I would love to get this signed. That's a cool figure.
Oh wow, Linda Carter.
Yeah.
No.
And I got. Well, you see, McFarlane is coming back out with the 66 stuff.
Really?
They announced that the other day. They have Batman, Robin, the Batcave, Joker, and a Batmobile.
They're just trying to keep us all on the hook.
Well, DC is coming out with the comic book.
They're what, another 66?
They should do a CG version of 66.
They're doing the 80s, the Batman as Michael Keaton.
Yeah, no, I know that's coming out. What did you say, Ray? They're doing a what? A 66
I said they should do a CG version of Batman 66, like, get other actors and then just like do like a fake reface of Adam West on there.
Well, you know. Listen, the comics that DC did based on 66, and we'll talk about Dan Parent later on too. I just saw Dan and Fernando this week. Great guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you guys know Fernando.
We worked on a project together. We worked on that Archie book together.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
What's that?
Do you have the comic? Can we see the comic?
Oh, the one that we worked on. We worked on a digital comic book with Nancy Silbercleto. I created the first autistic character for Archie like 2 years ago now, or 3 years ago.
What was her name again? I forget her name. I'm terrible.
Scarlet. Yeah,
Scarlet.
Yeah.
No. So
it was Scarlet with 2 T's, and they changed it to single T. I was like, why?
That was this past weekend over at Garden State Comic Fest with Dan and Fernando.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Great guys. Great guys.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, they're open to coming out to the shop, which would be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to have them.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll figure that out. But no, Batman 66. So Dan did Archie and Batman 66.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you're talking about redoing it, but I mean they did these 2 films, which were a lot of fun.
Those are good. The William Shatner one as Two-Face was hilarious.
Yeah,
because he actually looked like William Shatner. I was like, why didn't they do that?
That's the thing. They originally were gonna do it, and
really?
I guess for season 4,
really,
the show had been canceled, and because you know the story of what happened with 66. I think what was it, ABC? I think had it on originally. ABC canceled it,
right?
And I think like either CBS or NBC was like, "Oh, we're going to take it," And at that point, they had already destroyed the set.
Really?
So that was it.
Well, it was all about ratings, right? They were taken down for ratings. So they destroyed the sets. They just demolished them, and then.
Well, yeah, the show had been canceled, so they destroyed the sets like they do. And then it was when the other network said, "Oh, we'll take it." They're like, "Well,
too late.
Everything was destroyed." So
you can have the show, but you're not getting my sets.
Well, it wasn't cost effective anymore. Obviously, if you're taking the set, like so many other shows have like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, for instance, CW canceled them, and then UPN picked them up. So everything just moved over. So. I think in our society now with these things, they'll shop them around, get a second life before they demolish anything,
So was she the token white on the UPN network? Was that Buffy? Was like
you're gonna get canceled, Ray. You're gonna get canceled. Ray, oh my God!
It's all out of love,
Oh, Ray.
See, only guys our age would get that joke. Younger people would be like, "What is that? What is UPN?"
Yeah.
What is UPN? What is the WB? Right? Because those don't exist anymore.
Right, exactly. They don't exist.
And it's funny because then UPN the UPN and WB merged and became the CW anyway.
CW, same.
Well, now they were bought out now too, right? So they're on Discovery. So
were they really?
Yeah. They're not owned by AT&T anymore. So,
Discovery is taking the helm.
Yeah.
She's getting passed around.
They should be pumping a lot more money into the CW. So those shows should,
And supposedly they're going to continue the Snyderverse. Rumor has it. I don't know if it's true. Rumor has it, that what do you guys think about Jupiter's Legacy and that Netflix dumping them, which didn't make any sense because Netflix owns the Millar world. So
Yeah, they paid him a lot of money to. So I think we're still going to get a bunch of shows, just not more Jupiter's Legacy.
But you know what? I think I don't know if you guys read the comic book, but I think they're just slow to the punch because in the comic book you have the superhero family get murdered in the second issue, but they drag us through 10 episodes, and then no payoff at the end. I was like, what's going on? So I don't know. It seems. What's that? You never watched it?
That's the thing is there's just so much, like all these different streaming things, like outside of He-Man, like every day they're announcing something new. Like
it's
my
like
God,
ladies all over again. They don't want you involved in politics. They want you watching television.
I guess so, because I mean, really, like there's just so much. There's so much content out there. You know?
Way too much.
And it's like if you're into the stuff like we're all into, like the comic book stuff. Like I mean, the streaming services and networks are rich with it.
They're making money off of us. Our time is how they make money. So they want us distracted and tuned in and locked in at all times.
Yeah.
So either on your phone or you're like, my son is like, doesn't know what to do with himself. He's on his computer, on the TV, watching YouTube back and forth. It's like, hey, stop the devices. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'll take a nap. It's like,
when television was first developed, they didn't think people would stop and watch.
Right, exactly.
They expected it to flop, right? And it's like, that's everything. Yeah.
It's like a serious drug. Like they don't know what to do with themselves. These young kids, like, no TV, no social media. Mental crash.
And I'll say this about like the Marvel stuff. I mean, what Disney's doing with the Marvel stuff, with the Star Wars stuff, is we have become so unconditioned in how we take media now. Like, like a show like on Netflix or whatever, like here's 10 episodes, watch it,
Right. Which is really unhealthy. That's how you make like, TV crackheads on Netflix, It's like,
right, but that's what's happened. And Disney, is making us get back to like how, and WandaVision was the perfect example. Like, the first 2 episodes.
WandaVision.
Yeah. Flesh it out, right? Decompress storytelling, let it go on forever.
And those like, I mean, there were a lot of people who watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes of WandaVision, and they're like, yeah, what is this? This is not for me. And then by like that 4th episode, it's like, oh crap. And then that's when the real addiction began.
For real.
I
don't understand how people. That was almost like a history lesson of television sitcoms, It's like I don't understand what people want, because first they'll say, "Oh, DC's too dark," then they'll say, "Oh, this is too campy," and it's like, are you happy? Do you need to see a therapist? Because it's like you don't want too happy, you don't want too sad, It's like it's like everyone's become Goldilocks, and it's like that. Nothing's good enough for them, And, it's like I say, opinions are like assholes, and everyone has one, and that's basically what it's become. You have a social media full of these opinions that are essentially just a-holes. So,
but here's the question, like in regards to this comic, this world of comics in feature films and movies. It's like, how do you really want to see these characters? Because like you said, it's either too dark, it's too campy. I read an article the other day about the shows on the CW, the DC shows, and they're saying that people are starting to feel like those have run their course, because at this point now, it's not so much about like superheroes, it's about a political agenda.
Well, I think with the CW shows, I think they're all the same, and that's the problem. They have this same methodology of superheroes. When we were growing up, had a secret identity, and nobody knew who they were. But all these CW shows, they all have 5 people that are on their team, and this team operates them. It's like, what is this? Like, you're not really secret, And I think the same thing with Spider-Man, with Tobey Maguire and all these actors that need to get FaceTime on the screen there, like Spider-Man's taking off his mask so many times during the movie, especially Spider-Man 2, that how did Doc Ock find out who I am? I don't know. Maybe you can take your mask off. I mean, it's like,
all the cameras. So, I don't know. I thought that was a nice moment in Spider-Man where they like the whole all of New York City decides, right? They all know who he is, right? They all know he's this kid, but like nobody's gonna tell, right? Like I really appreciated that. That says something about people. I think it's like everybody's in on your secret, bud.
It's like that's the old adage in New York: snitches get stitches. Like,
well, right. You mentioned that scene, and just as you're mentioning that, everybody could snap the picture. I mean, what a twist that could actually be for this new Spider-Man movie coming out, because we know Doc Ock is in there, right? Yeah. And when we last left Spider-Man and Far From Home, New York City knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, right?
right.
And now you're
anyway.
What's that?
That would be like saying, Ray is Spider-Man. But okay. Right. I mean, you prove it, and also, do we all believe it? I mean, yes, because we saw it on TV, right? But I don't know that necessarily it's going to play out, right? Like, it doesn't really matter because Peter Parker is just a high school student.
I think that the way these Spider-Man movies are going too, they might just have a totally different plot and doesn't even connect to the previous one. Like, I was looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton in the second one again with Tombstone, and then it was like no Tombstone, no Michael, no Vulture. What's going on?
Yeah, now I have to look and see when is Morbius coming out.
I don't know, 2022. They haven't even mentioned it on the slate.
You're right, because it's all hype about Venom 2.
It's definitely out there.
Yeah.
So when is Morbius coming out? I'm looking at this up now because Morbius was supposed to come before Venom. January 28th.
Yeah. 2022.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about all this? Like now, all these superhero movies are taking like a horror take on it. Like the New Mutants did a horror thing.
Morbius.
And Morbius is doing the horror thing, and then there was another one that was a horror.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah. So it's like, what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's overdone, or you think it's appropriate, or?
I don't know. I think Marvel knows what it's doing, and they've tried all different genres. So they didn't do a horror one. I mean, that New Mutants movie was in production forever, and it's from Fox. So yeah. I think the Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, is their foray into the horror genre, and with the Marvel twist, right? It'll still be a Marvel superhero movie, but it'll have this like horror element to it. So they've already done the political with like Captain America, and they've done even like the James Bond movie with Captain America. So they've done the spy movie. They've done what haven't they done? They haven't done like a horror movie, right? I don't think that there was one. Doctor Strange, maybe,
or a Western.
Well, there's Western heroes, right? We're getting with Shang-Chi. We're getting a kung fu movie.
Oh, that's right.
I'm really excited about it. I don't know if you guys are. I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, I like that guy in Kim's Convenience. That's the
exactly. Thank you. Another great show too on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, and the dad from Kim's Convenience, he's on The Mandalorian.
That's right. He's on The Mandalorian. That's correct.
So like they're all in the Disney World, So it's like,
you got to see Kim's Convenience. You'll love that show.
Yes.
Good comedy.
I'm going to check that out. But I mean, I think Morbius is going to be a solid film. It's good.
Definitely.
Venom will be good. But I like Anthony said, Marvel knows what they're doing. DC is a place that we have to worry. DC and Warner Brothers, because they don't know what they're doing.
I always say that you can't have a Venom movie without a Spider-Man. You can't have a Harley movie without Joker. It just doesn't work. It's just like they had Catwoman without Batman. It's like, no, I don't know. It's just, And kids will always tell you this, because I remember my students, I told them, hey, what do you guys think of Venom? They're like, we were waiting for Spider-Man and he never came.
Right? Yeah. At least they know, right? And they're honest, right?
Yeah. They'll always tell you, like, what happened to Spider-Man? Where is he? It's like,
This is movie.
they don't care about Venom.
Yeah.
Venom is a side character, you know. That's like having a TV show on. Oh my God! How could you burn that thing?
He watches it every Saturday night at 7.
I love it. It's the widescreen one. It has an alternate ending.
Oh, really?
It does.
Is it a good ending or a worse ending?
I have no idea. But you know this movie is tied to the Burton and Schumacher films.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, it took too long to develop. That's why.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah,
they should have had Batman in that movie. It would have been much better instead of that detective that she had a love interest in, which made no sense.
Yeah, but also this isn't Selena Kyle. It's Patience Phillips.
Right.
Oh, she's not Selena Kyle.
No, you never saw the movie, right?
Oh, that's right. She was like the next one after. She was like she got licked by like the same cats that licked the previous.
So you have a problem.
That's the cat lickers who give you the powers. Some subliminal messages there. It's like
well, no, because Joe's just said, Joe, that's because there's some live events going on over at Alterniverse, so that's why there's extra sound. So don't mind that. Sorry. There's other people talking. Don't worry about it. But no, in this movie, there's a scene like there's this old cat lady that lives in the house, and so she goes and sees her, right? Like she throws all these like.
She had Egyptian shit in the house or something, right?
Yeah, and so there's pictures of like all these women who Egyptian-wise, but in the group of photos, there's a picture of Michelle Pfeiffer in the Catwoman suit. So it is connected to the film.
6 feet under.
She should have been Kitty Woman or Kitty Girl or something instead of Catwoman.
As we're saying about other DC properties, what about this?
Actually, I like that show.
They had a really good when they shot Batgirl. They'd done that. Batman was in that. Batman and Joker were in that.
Yeah, that was a good show. I wish they had another season.
Well,
she only had one season. I just remember the opening, like with the Joker and Batman.
Yeah. I think it's like 20 episodes in one season or something like that. Is that right?
The cool thing about this DVD, though, I thought the show was okay too. But the main cool thing about the DVD, what it has on it, anybody who's like a DVD fan that's watching us, and a Bruce Timm fan, there was the animated web series.
Oh yeah, that was great.
You
bought that in Walmart for $10.
Gotham Girls.
Gotham Girls, yeah.
So all 30 episodes of the short 30 episodes of Gotham Girls are that's why I bought the DVD, was for the Gotham Girls.
Yeah. But the TV, I actually hated the show when it was on. I was like, this is terrible. But actually, as an older, I guess more mature person, I watched it and I was like, this is better than Gotham.
Oh my God. Gotham was not a favorite. I tried watching that show. It's just like,
this is horrible. That was like a dark version of the Adam West shows.
Oh my God.
It's like they couldn't decide, are we gonna be campy or are we gonna be dark? They were like stuck in that influx, you know?
They were neither. They were awful. That's what they were. They were campy or whatever.
It just didn't make any sense, you know?
Correct. Yeah, no, it wasn't.
You have a Batman show with no Batman.
What's that?
You have a Batman show without Batman. And then
right, exactly. You can't. It doesn't make any sense. It's
like it says everybody would be 30 years his senior. So who is he? They already have.
Right. So. What I find hilarious is that there was a series called GCPD that reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And then there was a Krypton comic book that John Byrne wrote, and that TV show Krypton was very similar to it, you know?
Yeah.
I think that was interesting how they're basically taking what they already did in the comics and trying to tell these stories, like police stories or Planet Krypton stories before Batman and Superman. But those books were failures. They should have known. They didn't.
Well, I mean, no. World of Krypton, I think was just a miniseries, though.
Krypton, yeah, the Mike Mignola one, that one did okay. That did okay. But the GCPD was like, you know.
But no, you're right. Here's another show that I thought was fun, and I liked this growing up. So you had the Super Friends, right? Which we all know what the Super Friends was. But after Super Friends ended on CBS, they had the Ruby Spears Superman.
Oh, I got that one. That was actually good because that was loosely based on the John Byrne stuff.
It was based on the John Byrne stuff and the movies.
Yeah. Those are good.
I mean, Lex was
Donald Trump, basically.
He was Donald Trump in this, but I mean, like
that's what John Byrne based him off of. Was Donald Trump was like.
But like Lois and Clark and Jimmy and Perry, they were the characters from the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
They really were, and it was cool. Like Wonder Woman showed up in a couple of these, and
I didn't even finish watching them. Really, thanks for spoiling it. And I'm just kidding. I've had it for like 5 or 6 years. Yeah.
Again, another solid animated series, and of course, then after that, when did this even come out? Because then
that came out. That show aired in the '80s, late '80s. It was like 80.
Oh, I'm gonna say this was even '90s.
Yeah, maybe early '90s, because John Byrne's comic book. Well, that comic book came out in '86, '87. So then I think the cartoon came out like late '80s, maybe early '90s.
And I'm gonna look at Ruby Spears Superman came out when? 88.
See, I told you. I know because I was 14. So and
then figure like 4
years
right
before I worked at a comic book store. So that's how I date myself. Like, all right, when I worked in this comic book store, what came out? Yeah.
And then 4 years later, we got the Batman the animated series.
Right. See, Batman animated series. I know that was in 1991 and 92 because that's when I moved to
92.
That's when I moved to Baltimore. So I know that between 91 and 92 that I was watching those at night.
So he's asking about Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, he came on, I think, right after The Rock. You know, Charles S. Dutton's The Rock was on, and then they had the Batman ones. This is when they first aired them. They were at night before they switched to daytime. You know. So.
Are you talking when Fox showed them at nighttime after?
Yeah,
Rock?
Fox showed them at night.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that that show, like, and who was I talking to? I don't know if it was on here or someplace else, but we were talking about Batman the animated. Someone at school, I think. We were talking about Batman the animated series, and they were saying that they were in college when that show was on, and like they would go to the bar after school and watch it.
Yeah. And this was a nighttime show. Yeah,
it became a nighttime show, and then Sarah Jean wrote about Batman Brave and the Bold. That was a solid show too. I mean, it was it took a little getting into, but I mean, they did a good.
Was the SpongeBob of DC Universe. I was like,
so they had all these like, you know, I mean, Batman could do anything. The Blue Beetle shows up and they fly into space.
Yeah,
this is go up into space, and he just happens to have a suit that can fly into space, right?
It was like Dick Sprang, I guess, and because it had that Dick Sprang and Dick Tracy type feeling to it, you know.
Yeah, totally. That's why I thought it was good. You know what I mean? Anything could happen. And he always had like all the third-rate villains and stuff. You know,
right?
You know, Rainbow
Man and shit. Yeah,
Rainbow Man in the first minute, and then there would actually be a cartoon after that. So
right.
You know, formula, it was a pretty good formula.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, like you were saying, Anthony, like that little teaser in the beginning had nothing to do with the episode. Like one of my favorite, as a Hanna-Barbera fan, like what the hell is Space Ghost meeting Batman for? But they did it.
They did it. Yeah.
They did, you know.
And then the other thing that was neat is like all the people in the beginning, they were all getting faced. So they brought in, yeah. I thought. Yeah, it was pretty, you know, it did have an overarching storyline, but you could just tune into the one episode and watch it, and it had that like first minute and then the rest of the episode. And
like, you know, you mentioned for like, you know, I mean, you know, the Joker, you know, Penguin, you know, Lex Luthor, all these characters, but like all these little like second-rate villains, and even like the Lego games. My son plays the DC Lego games. And he's telling me about he's 8 years old. He's telling me about all the different Green Lanterns. This little boy hasn't picked up a comic book at all. But he's naming all these. He's asking me about The Question. He's asking me about Huntress. And I'm like, how do you know all these characters? Because he sees them on Brave and the Bold, and he sees them in the Lego games. So
yeah, and the Lego has the movies too, right? The Justice League movies too, right?
Those two, but the games go deep.
The video games, really.
Oh my god! Like he unlocked. There's characters who I had no. I'm like, that game is really on there.
Yeah, Condiment Man, all those characters.
Yeah.
Polka Dot Man, the Polka Dot guy, and Clock. My son's asking me about Clock King. What the hell do you know about Clock King?
The only thing I didn't like about the Batman movie that Lego did was that they kept insinuating that Robin was and Batman were like gay or something, and they had him like all glittery and like. I was like, this is a little over the top. It's like, I mean, it's like, again, this is like Warner Brothers can't decide, are we for children or are we for adults? Like Harley Quinn cartoon.
No.
I was watching it with my son, and then all of a sudden, think all these F-bombs. I was like, oh, okay, we got to turn this off. Oh, okay. Oh, they're making clitoris jokes. Oh, let me turn this off. It's like, DC fans are weird because they want their cartoons adult and mature, and they want their movies to be campy and childlike. So everyone wants Christopher Reeve Superman, but when it's a cartoon, we need the dark, evil Superman. So, and you can't mix those two up. It's like, peanut butter and chocolate. You can't have your Reese's. It's like, it's like.
Listen. First and foremost, for me, I will take Christopher Reeve Superman over anybody.
Nah.
Who guys, Anthony, Bray, who would you take as which is your key Superman?
I mean, out of the movie universe,
Henry Cavill for me.
it'd be for me it's Christopher Reeve. You know what I mean? Like the first two movies are still the classic movies.
You know what? I had a dream about a Christopher Reeve movie, right? But it was a remake of Superman 3. I had the whole dream about it years ago. Yeah, but instead it was Brandon Roth as Superman in Superman 3 remake.
Oh, thank you.
And Dave Chappelle as Richard Pryor. I was like, what a great film.
Well, thank you for Brandon Roth. Let you know, the movie was horrible.
He
was a great Superman.
He was. And then we saw him in The Crisis.
Right. CW.
My God, I want him back as Superman.
Right. But even the guy that's on the Superman and Lois show right now, he's good.
I don't know.
Yeah, that guy is a kind of like, yeah, he's okay, but he looks like blue collar Superman.
and that's the thing. Why is Superman and Lois living on a farm? No.
Right. He looks like Judge Dredd retired and became Superman.
I have to say that he's a good actor, and seeing him in Supergirl play Superman, I was like, okay, he's Superman. Like he earned it, he owned it. So he's another one that I really do. I think he's kind of like almost underrated. Like Tom Welling, I thought Tom Welling too. I thought
Tom Welling was okay, but he was cocky. He messed up. He was supposed to be in Superman Returns, and he messed that up. He messed up the entire franchise by thinking that he was going to become some big star. It's like, no, man, you're stuck already.
You're tight.
Own it. He didn't own it, So,
no, that's the part of it. I'm saying the look. He looks like a superhero. He looks like a character, a Superman character. Like I believe he's Superman.
Did you realize that the kid that plays, I think, Jonathan in the new Superman and Lois show looks a lot like the Smallville character? I thought that was interesting how they casted him to look. He looks just like that guy. I was like, wow, the hair and everything.
A little intentional.
Yeah, a little intentional, yeah. But I think he's going to be the Superboy spin-off TV show or something.
Right, they probably...
like New Smallville. It's the new Smallville show. So Superman will go back to... I think there's season 2, Superman will go back to Metropolis, and then the son will become like the Superboy over
character, right?
Yeah, the Superboy character over Smallville.
And they both are his children, right?
They're both his children. Yeah.
What does it have Superman?
Well, the blonde one was like the milkman's baby. It might be
no power.
Maybe his best friend from high school. What was his name?
Jimmy Olsen.
No. What was another one that was the school president and the jock? I forgot. They don't have him in the TV show. He was in the old show. The one that Lana marries. The one that Lana marries in Superman 3. That was his buddy in the comic books. You know, remember his name?
That guy with the mustache or whatever, that jerk guy.
Yeah, in Superman 3, they made him a drunk jerk, but in the comic books, they were actually best friends in the comic book.
Gotcha.
Him and Clark. I forgot his name, though.
And you know what? If we're talking, I love Superman 4. I know everybody hates Superman 4. I love Superman 4.
It was supposed to be Bizarro, and then they.
I know it's supposed to be bizarre. You know what? I love Christopher Reeve and just like the comedy of like Clark and Lois and Superman. Like there's that scene where like they're doing that double date with the woman from the newspaper, and like Clark, and it's a stupid romantic comedy joke, whatever. But like he's out on the porch, and like, all of a sudden he makes like the turkey like catch on fire, and Lois is like, "Oh my god, I gotta go in there!" And then he like ducks in, and all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, let me open up this wine." Oh gosh!
I'll tell you what was bad about that film, because we already had John Byrne's Superman at that time, and we had Alan Moore's Superman at that time, and Crisis already happened.
Yeah.
So people were already, like Harry Potter grew up with the audience, but Superman stayed the same age, and the audience grew up and were like, nah. And that's where WB messed up. Superman should have grew up with its audience as he had evolved, and he didn't. He just stayed the two-dimensional 1940s Superman, and everyone loves that Superman, but he's not relatable. And I think the reason why people hated BVS Superman so much, because the Superman of BVS is the reflection of our America today. And this is our, he was kind of a self-absorbed, selfish, kind of like Americans, why are you, and, his mom is like, you don't owe anybody anything. It's like.
But that's the thing. Superman's not supposed to be brooding, though. That's the thing. Like, that's Batman's job.
Yeah, well, I think that movie also had a little confusion because they didn't show the contrast of Superman and Batman like Alex Ross did so well in his stories. They should have had it like Metropolis wasn't dark, and he just had it all dark. And I think that he should have been. There should have been more contrast in the film. But overall, that is one of my favorite Superman movies now. Even though I didn't like the Lex Luthor,
Oh my God.
The actor, but I don't. That was more like the Riddler than.
I know. Oh,
wasn't it Lex Luthor's son? Anyway, it's not really Lex Luthor.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be young Lex Luthor, so he's evolving to become Lex Luthor. They were basically trying to. I think what Zack Snyder was trying to do is exactly what I'm talking about, like Harry Potter. You're watching Clark Kent as he was without powers, and then as he's gaining the powers, he's going through he's like a late bloomer to puberty, so he doesn't know how to behave. And then you have the Lex Luthor who's juvenile and hasn't become completely evil. He's more like passive aggressive Lex Luthor, and and then Batman was the oldest out of them, so it's like. Yeah. Dark Knight Batman, because originally they were supposed to do the Dark Knight Returns, but you have all these producers putting all these things in, and they forced them to put in Doomsday and all this other crap that they kept force feeding this movie, like it's a stuffed turkey on Thanksgiving, thinking they're going to have a huge payback. But then, because the little girl that he saves was supposed to be the female Robin. That was the original.
I remember seeing it, yeah.
And that they never went back to that. You even see her in the future as a Robin-like character when she gets killed. You see a Robin-like character, you see a Batgirl-like character, and you see a Black Canary-like character in that future scene all at once. And one guy who's kind of like a Dick Grayson, but and they all get killed by those parademons. You got to watch it in slow motion. And
I didn't see that.
Got some time on your hands.
Yeah, he has 4 sidekicks in that future scene. He has 3 girls and 1 guy.
And a guy.
And they get killed. Just like a lot of people missed that Kilowog was dead when they panned to the Justice League in the future vision towards the end of the Justice League Snyderverse movie. So Kilowog was totally like laid out dead. You know.
But see that's the one thing like I hated about this the Snyderverse thing too. I mean, it is what it is. But
it's the Injustice game. If you ever played the Injustice video game, that's basically what he's doing.
Yeah, I've played it, but again, I just like that whole was it Nightfall or whatever? What do they call it? Where you know, with the future thing, and I'm like, no, not my
Nightmare universe.
Nightmare. Yeah, I'm like, no, I'm not.
But they're introducing the multiverse, so at some point they were going to introduce another reality of Justice League. Maybe we'll get the Alex Ross Justice League. Maybe we'll get, like whatever, but they were basically trying to explain that there is a multiverse,
Yeah. Well, I think, and Anthony, you can speak to this with the comics now too. I mean, it seems like everybody is doing multiverse now.
Yes.
Well, DC did it first. That's all I got to say.
It also feels like a little bit of lazy writing, right? Because then you can
it's lazy.
It's
lazy writing.
Out there that's doing another thing, and now you're back.
Well, because and because I mentioned that too, because I haven't read any of it yet, but like the new Buffy the Vampire Slayer from Boom, it was a reboot, but now they're opening up a multiverse of it, and I guess it's going to somehow connect to the classic show.
It's all the classic characters are just kind of mixed up, like when they're popping out in the comic book, right? So somebody who is in a later season is like right there in the beginning. Yeah.
So. Archie has their multiverse. It's just like
Archie has a multiverse too.
Well, they do. There's like Afterlife with Archie, and then you have Archie when he's growing up, and he's.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Archie 3000, Archie BC, the new Archie.
They could have had Archie Goes to War, but they rejected my script. I actually had Archie during 9/11, gave them a whole synopsis, and then was like 5 or 6 years later they say, okay, Archie Goes to War in 1941. It's like kids don't care about World War II. They care about 9/11. That's more relatable. So I don't know how the sales were on that book, but I can't imagine they were that great. If your audience, their demographic is 8-year-old girls, right? That's Archie's demographic. They don't care about World War II. It's like,
I mean, that was a mini series though too. That was, that was a short run.
Yeah, it was a mini series. Yeah.
It would have been like a,
It was ignored. Just like Archie and Kiss. That's great for us. But we're not their demographic. If you read their website, their demographic is 8 to 12-year-old females. It's like
they don't know who Kiss is. Yeah.
They don't know who Kiss is. Scooby-Doo you can get away with because but like what was the other one they did that was ridiculous? The Nightmare one that was
they did Archie and Predator.
Archie, yeah, that was ridiculous.
They did 2 of those, right?
Yeah, 2. Yeah.
I know Fernando did the first one. I don't know who did the second one. I don't have the second one. I have the first one that Fernando did.
I would rather see Archie. I would rather see Batman versus Predator in a movie than Archie and Predator. I mean, even the Archie and Punisher back in the day was ridiculous.
But that was fun. It
was good. It was good, but it was ridiculous.
And they did Archie and the Ninja Turtles. That was because Archie had the Ninja Turtle license.
They don't know what they're doing. They need to turn that over to somebody else. I think the Riverdale show, which I stopped watching.
Me too.
But I think they had in the first few episodes of the first season, they were really on the pulse because they did that whole Twin Peaks meets the Heathers, and it was really clever. But then as soon as they started drifting away from that and they got like kind of lost, I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done.
And they got political then too.
Oh, did they really?
Of course.
Well, I think they
show.
Yeah, I think everything, all these shows, even Supergirl kind of got like that, I was like, am I watching the Les Fest or am I watching a superhero show? I was like, can I watch this with my daughter, or can I watch this with my little daughter, or the daughter that I raised fucked up and she just was, I don't know. It's like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like they don't understand their demographic either. Those TV shows, I mean. Everyone, the audience is, we're not this generation. It's not really written for us, and that's okay. But when young kids that they think is their demographic don't relate to it, that's when you're lost. You know, I don't need that show to relate to me, but it should relate to the generation that they're addressing, and they're not. You know? I don't know who they think they're addressing it to, because like Supergirl is a very simple show, and you know, I got nothing wrong with, like, you know, the LGBTQI community. You know, if anything, I'm a huge supporter of it. I even have lots of gay characters. I was writing gay characters before DC and Marvel did. You know,
but I know what you're gonna go with. Like with this, right? Is like when the first season of Supergirl was sung, so you had Supergirl,
right?
And you know, you had her Adventures of Catco. Her sister was there, you know, and they were figuring things out. And you know, fine, they had, was it the DEC or DE or whatever it is?
Yeah,
working for that, and that was okay. Then the second season, they moved from CBS to the CW.
Yeah, it became more sexual. Yeah,
and that well, it became more of a political show, just like all. And again,
yeah, and that's okay if that's the demographic, but clearly it's not, because they lost viewers. They lost viewership. So if you lost viewership, then you missed the pulse. You know, you have to know the pulse of who's reading or who's watching your stuff. And clearly they didn't get it, because if you watch Birds of Prey, that DVD, I want you to watch it, because if you look at Supergirl season 3 and 4, when they started getting lost, they were actually ripping off several episodes from Birds of Prey. Like, they actually took plots of Birds of Prey and applied them into Supergirl, with that alien bar and discrimination and the alien bar. That's already happening in the Birds of Prey TV show.
Gotcha.
20 years before. So, you know, and same thing with Smallville. It's like, you know, you look at The Flash, and you look at the first season of The Flash was basically, the third season of Smallville, you know, the Blur and, you know, and all this other, they even use the same names as,
you're right.
So you just have a group of writers that aren't really creative. That's all. I mean, you can introduce LGBTQ, too many letters, but you can add the alphabet soup into these episodes in a way that's relatable to people. But I think they were going for shock value, and that's not really mainstream, you know?
Yeah.
It's not, especially if you're doing it a show that was intended for children, you know?
Yeah.
So they don't know their demographic. That's, I think WB, like Marvel knows their demographic, you know? They understand their demographic, but Warner Brothers never has understood their demographic, ever, you know?
No.
You know, with all their movies, I think all their movies are shit. Sorry. And I'll watch them and I appreciate them, but I think all Swamp Thing was terrible. You know, both the first one was digestible, the second one was worse. It's like
Not in the old movie. I haven't watched the new Swamp Thing series. I heard that was good. Stargirl.
That was good, but too dark. It was more like the USA Swamp Thing show, you know.
Yeah.
But again, it's like they're remaking. They're still stuck. It's like wait a second, Alan Moore made the Swamp Thing super interesting that when Len Wein created, you know, it's like, why aren't you doing those stories? It's a no-brainer. Why do they keep going back and doing the remake of the failure? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think with that show, they couldn't decide if it was going to be a police procedural or if it was going to be a body horror film. You know,
right, right, exactly.
Therefore, you know, what is it? Yeah, like you said, I heard a lot of good things about the show, though. I know people want to see it come back and are upset that it got canceled before it you know, got launched. Basically, that was the problem. Yeah. I didn't watch it because I knew it was canceled before it was launched. Right. So I was like, you know, I'll get involved, and then I know there's no season 2. So unlike something like The Witcher, where I'm waiting for season 2, you know.
Right, right. Well, I found out something interesting through my friend Tom yesterday. We were chatting a little bit about the Stan Lee signing that happened today, but he had mentioned that during the Flash, NBC had developed, signed a contract, hired actors for a Daredevil show, and that was ready to launch to compete with the Flash.
Yep.
Back in the 90s. And then CBS bought out the contract of Daredevil.
Really?
and crushed that show because they didn't want any competition with their Flash television show. So they already shot it. It already existed, this Daredevil show. They killed it. By buying
was it with the guy from the Hulk movie? Was it the Hulk spin-off?
I don't know if it was the same actor, but it was definitely a Daredevil. It was a Daredevil TV show that was, the pilot was done and they killed it.
And Ray, you just mentioned it. Let me throw this up there. You can talk about this for a second. Let me pull this up. So and Anthony, I don't know if you knew about this, but Ray told me about this. I had no idea. So Ray's like, today I was at a Stan Lee signing. I'm like, what do you mean you were at a Stan Lee signing? He's dead.
Question. I know I heard him say that. So
I'm like, what the hell? He's dead. But Ray, this was today. What happened?
So yesterday, I was contacted on Monday about collaborating with this group called the Hip Hop Boulevard. They were talking about they want to collaborate with a comic book event. And I'm thinking, oh, Bronx Heroes Comic Con. Oh, yeah, we could do that. That's fine. But then he finally hit me with it and said, no, we're doing a sign reveal for Stan Lee Way in the neighborhood where he was born in the Bronx. It's on the street where Stan Lee lived in the Bronx on 176th Street. They had a sign reveal, and then they basically invited me to, witness it. Originally, I was supposed to give a speech, but I arrived late because of traffic. But Tom ended up giving a speech.
Of course he did.
Because Tom. But it was really good. There was lots of press there, and it was good because Tom set the record straight because unbeknownst to us, they were calling several times. They kept referring to Stan Lee as an illustrator. And we didn't know because we weren't there. We arrived late. But when Tom got there, he started talking about the artists like Kirby and Romita and all the guys that actually drew the comics. So that was a breath of fresh air, So it's great that they wanted Stan, and they rushed this. This should have been done properly. Like, I talked to some friends that know Larry Lieber. We could have had Larry Lieber there if they just gave me time to arrange things.
Larry is Stan's brother.
Yeah, Larry is Stan's brother, and he lives in New York. He lives 30 minutes away from this place. So it's like they could have done it right, but, I hate to say it, but politicians are really, really about themselves and about elections. So they wanted to do this. They want to get it done. And they didn't really follow the proper channels of doing it. They were just like, well, we're doing this. Find somebody to do it, so to get it, to make it happen. But I'm lucky. I'm very fortunate that I was invited to be a part of it. So, and I'm standing with the current principal of DeWitt Clinton High School, which was Stanley's high school, Will Eisner's high school, Bob Kane's high school, Erwin Hastings High School. So many guys that went to this school that started in comics, Bill Finger. So it was interesting that they had the high school there, but they had nobody that actually knew Stan Lee. So bringing Tom, Tom worked for Stan Lee. He was Stan Lee's personal assistant. And I discovered yesterday that Tom was also the very first televised Spider-Man in the 70s, before the 70s TV show, for a Channel 9 interview of the Marvel Comic Con, because he organized the Marvel Comic Con back in 76. So it was actually, so he was the first Spider-Man.
That predates Mike.
Yeah, right. So. It was fun. So we got some coverage on News 4, on Channel 4 and 12 and 7 and 1, a bunch of channels. So
no, that's cool. I mean, who knew when you said that, Ray, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? But yeah, so it should have been a bigger thing, absolutely. Yeah,
because when they did the Batman Bill Finger Way sign 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, that was very well organized. They got the guy.
There.
Yeah, I was there. Tom was there. They had Kevin Conroy was there. They had a bunch of people. They had the Finger Sisters were there.
Paul Castiglia was there, a friend.
Paul Castiglia was there. The guys from Comic Book Men were there, like Ming Chen. They did it right. They had the guy who did the Bill and Me movie. I keep forgetting his name, but
yeah.
So they did it right. They didn't rush it. I mean, that took years to put together, and it took even years before that even came together to organize. Because in the I used to talk to the Bronx Historical Society back in the early 2000s, trying to get Stan Lee, Will Eisner, Bob Kane, Bill Finger signs, and Orrin Hastings, who was still alive at the time, signed on the Walk of Fame, but they weren't interested in comic books. They didn't care. They were like, well, if they're dead post-mortem, we're not going to honor them. That was their attitude. But luckily, the gentleman who did the Bill and Me movie, I forget his name, but he actually pushed it forward, and we spoke. We talked. We met each other through my cousin, and I told them, no, they should do a street sign because they were trying to do a bench. I was like, why are you going to do a bench of Bill Finger and Bob Kane? You're going to have a bunch of hobos sleeping on it, and shooting up on it. I mean, if you go to that park in Poe Park, that's a bunch of
alley.
Right, exactly. Crime Alley. So what's interesting about Crime Alley, Gotham City, and Grand Concourse have the same initials. It's like, and the Crime Alley was once a prominent place, like the Grand Concourse in the Bronx, which I thought which has a theater right on the concourse. So I found that was interesting. That was, in a sense, he's writing about the concourse in the Bronx and the decline of the Bronx, and those Batman stories, because that was once a place where wealthy people lived and then turned into a slum.
Yep.
Interesting.
So I think it's good. It's a good thing that they're finally doing these signs. But I mean, they're talking about, it took 20 years of different people pulling their coat-strings. Like, I think they need a Batman museum in the Bronx, and
yeah,
I would advocate more for that. I'd like to just say it, throw it out there, so somebody who can do it. I'm not going to take credit for any of these signs. I'm invited to both events. I'm not, I did do shows. I did do gallery shows on those guys at Pope Park many years ago, but I'm not going to take credit for something I didn't do. But it was nice to be invited because I'm the comic book guy of the Bronx, because of the Bronx Heroes. So it was nice. So it was very nice. It was a nice event. But,
somebody asking if we've met Stanley.
If I met Stanley?
So have you met Stanley?
A long time ago at New York Comic Con. It was a very funny story. I had 2 tables at New York Comic Con. I had to get rid of one. It was in the main aisle when you're walking in. And the table that I ended up selling ended up being next to Stan Lee. So I didn't get to see it. But I'm glad, because the line for Stan Lee was so long that, like in New York City, we don't have the fire department breaking up lines like in California.
It would have blocked your table.
It would have blocked the table. So the guys that had it hated it because they were being blocked by Stan Lee's security guards. So then Stanley comes out and he's walking down the aisle, and he sees my other table was not that far. So he looks up at the banners and he's like, oh, Bronx Heroes. I didn't know there were heroes in the Bronx. And I looked at him and I said, Stan, what are you talking about? You're one of the first.
Nice.
Have you met him? Did you ever get to meet him, Anthony?
Not personally, no. Like, we've been in the same room a bunch of times, actually, because of the conventions. But, like, I've never actually gone up and talked to him. No, I didn't get the opportunity, sadly, And it's one of those missed opportunities. One time they did a thing at one of the shows where it was like, hey, the first 50 people, you get to meet Stan Lee. And a friend of mine ran up to wait in line for me, basically. He was like, no, this guy has to meet Stan Lee. Like, he loves Spider-Man. I was like, sorry, you're 51st.
Right.
That's what happened. He was literally the 51st person in that line. And another time he was in the basement signing for, what was the cartoon? The cartoon that Stan Lee had done not that long.
Superella?
No. The superhero team. They put out a comic book too. I can't remember the name, but that was the thing. It was like he was only signing that poster It has all you could like. They as I was walking towards them, they're like, "Don't put anything that's in front of him." I said hi to him. I mean, like, we were in the same room, like I said, but I never like no him. I've never.
Was it the Condor or something like that that they did with the Mexican?
It was like Christian Slater voiced one of the characters in the movie that they made. Stan Lee is in it. Stan Lee voices himself, and Christian Slater was one of the heroes, and heroes. And but he would only that was it. There was like, this is the signing for this. This is all signed, and the line was incredible. And they were giving you the poster, right, for the it was like a little promo thing. I was like, I'm not nice to meet you. I'm not gonna stand in line for 5 hours.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
And again, because it's like I didn't know how I was even bringing it back with me to Poughkeepsie, so I was like, I'm not gonna be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, it's not the end of the world. So yeah, no, unfortunately, no, not actually met him. No. So his brother, yes, Larry Lieber, yeah, I've met him on a couple of different occasions. We've spoken at a couple of cons and stuff. So, but Stanley, no.
My Stanley story. My brother-in-law and I. So in Artist Alley in the Javits Center, we were standing over by right when you walk in Artist Alley, and there's the hot dog vendors there. You go through that from the main Javits to there, and so we're standing in the corner, and we're just taking a break, chit chat, and all of a sudden we see guys walking with Stan Lee, right? And we say to him, we're like, Stan, how you doing, right? Can we take a photo? Absolutely. So I'm gonna share this, and this guy, it was like one of the Javits security guys. You're gonna be like, oh crap.
Were they trying to stop you?
No. Look at this photo.
It's not Stanley.
There's Stan. There it is. The guy couldn't hit the right freaking button on it. I mean,
it's blurry. I was like, well, it's loading. It's loading.
That's the thing. Oh my god! Listen, you know what?
You can fix it on Photoshop. You can fix it on Photoshop.
Can you really?
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably do something.
But I mean, there it is. So me and my brother Stanley, but the guy freaking screwed the pooch there with it. I'm like, God damn it! And we're like, come on, man. But again, you know what? Super nice guy. And,
yeah, he was friendly. He was friendly.
And it wasn't he's charging people $100. We said, Stan, can we take a picture? Absolutely. Wasn't about the money.
The bad picture is free. The bad picture is free.
All right.
There you go.
We get the blurry photo.
I'll give you a bad photo. Anyways, guys, it's almost 10 o'clock, so we're gonna wrap up now.
Yeah.
But I have a couple of announcements before we wrap up. So I got the word today that the Incredicon live event will be returning in October to the Poughkeepsie Galleria.
Nice. Congratulations.
For 2 days. Congratulations. You guys will be there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm there.
Taking over the center of the Galleria again?
We're going to take over the whole mall this time, I promise.
All right, cool.
The whole mall. We're shooting for 2 days.
Can I do some plugs? Can I do some plugs before we wrap it up?
Of course. Well, you do your plugs first. We'll let you guys plug in, and I'll finish up. Go ahead.
So we got the collected edition, the four issues for the first time. The previous one was 3 issues. Now it's all 4 issues of the Bronx Heroes, the greatest hero, Black Power.
Love it.
Then we got of course, the still in print Bronx Heroes in Trumpland, right? And then we have Punchline Clown Detective. You all know the story behind this one, right? The real punchline. That's what I should have titled it. We're without superheroes, but I grabbed the wrong copy. This is actually the old edition. We have a new edition with Erwin Hasen, Golden Age artist, who drew the cover, and we have a little bio about Erwin, remembering Erwin, who passed away about 6 or 7 years ago. I have it over here.
I have met Erwin Hasen a few times. He drew.
He's a great guy. He was one of my favorites. He was funny.
I was going to say, he had a really good sense of humor, and I have a mat, like a play mat.
Yeah.
I just was like, would you mind drawing for me? And he was like, no, of course not. But, those play mats, they're like, it's like a mouse pad, so they're difficult to, pencil down on. So he was like, hey, can I just go? I said, you can do whatever you want, and he was like,
right.
okay. And I've got a Green Lantern across this huge play mat, that he just whipped out with a marker.
Yeah, he was a Sharpie guy. Yeah, he just cranked it out with a Sharpie. Yeah.
theme. It just looked like just one of his pictures. You know, I mean, you can totally tell it's, you know, I don't know. It's like a go-to almost, right? He can just, here you go.
I witnessed a miracle at Erwin Hasten's funeral, and I could tell you that he went to heaven because when he passed away, they brought out his coffin, and this very humble wooden coffin with the Star of David on it, and it was pouring rain. And then when they brought the coffin out and they were walking it towards the hole, I swear to God, the clouds parted, the rain stopped, and a beam of sunlight beamed on the Star of David, on the coffin, and everything got bright. And I tell Danny Fingeroff, I was like, it stopped raining. Look at this. It's like, this is out of a movie. And then the beam of light went away, and it looked like he was being, like it transported his spirit back up. The clouds closed again, and the rain started falling again heavy. And I was like, holy crap. What was that?
Wow.
So if there's a heaven, Erwin's there.
That's awesome. Right?
I was like, this is like a Mel Brooks movie. This can't be real. It's like
And then, so Anthony, do some plugs again for your store so we can get you out there. I'm going to give you the full screen. Show us.
We're going to check out that store.
The camera around, but we've got some CGCs behind us, some comics and such, some action figures behind me. We sell all that stuff. If you're ever in Hyde Park, New York, we're in Haviland Shopping Plaza in Hyde Park, New York on Route 9G. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, show those guys.
We've got
very cool.
Yeah, some store exclusives. You know, and they're limited edition and only available at the store.
What is that second comic with all the creatures on it?
I know, that's Burger Hobo. And
Burger Hobo, I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's by Scout Comics, and the artist is Ryan Brown on this cover. And this is a wrap cover, and it was limited to 250.
Wow, that's great.
Ryan's been doing a lot of alternate covers, right? He's been kicking it with the.
Go. Ray, next time you're up here, go pick it up. I got mine. Go get yours, folks.
Yeah. What's it called? Better Hobo? What?
That's Murder Hobo. Murder Hobo.
Oh. And you know what? And for everybody watching, like I said, we announced we'll be back for Incredicon in October. Ryan has always been a guest there. We'll probably get Steve there. Anthony will be there, so I'm sure there'll probably be a couple of these guys laying around, maybe in October. Yeah. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully, if you buy one now, hold on to it for October.
For October.
It.
Yeah, because Ryan will remark it. You know what I mean? You can sign it, remark it if it's not already signed. Those issues that I showed are actually already signed. Is yours signed? Signed on the bottom.
Of course. And I saw Ryan a couple of weeks ago. Mine's not signed, but that's okay. I'll see him again.
It's the store.
How far is your store from your house?
Half hour? Not even 20 minutes.
20 minutes? Okay. So are you further north or further south?
Hyde Park, by FDR.
Yeah.
Oh, by FDR Park, like the Trump Park, right?
No, the president.
Oh, FDR. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we have an FDR Park over here in Westchester that it's fun. Trump basically funded that park or something like that.
Oh, they're getting rid of that.
Yeah.
His book now. It's Bronx Heroes.
Joe Ryan, you know you're going to be a part. Joe Ryan's like, I'd love to be a part of the show in October. Joe, you know you'll be a part of it. And then before we wrap up, I do have not sad news, but I'm going on a little break for 2 weeks.
Where are you going?
But there will still be Incredichat. So next week, our buddy Michael, I don't know who Grazia has, but Michael Grazia will be taking the helm on Incredichat. He's going to have a guest. Maybe Ray he'll bring you. I told him don't bring Ray because you're going to be here this week, but who the hell knows? Maybe you'll be back. Grazia will be back next week. Grazia will be back next week. So that'll be next week, and then the week after that, we have we haven't done it in a while, but we had Increditrak. So it's gonna be some sci-fi, Star Trek, Doctor Who. That'll be in 2 weeks on the 24th. I have work commitments. I'm going to the prom next week. How about that? So that's gonna be fun. My job. So Peggy Sue got married or Mary Sue got married? Got married, but yeah. So I have some work commitments with my job, so I won't be back. I will be back July 1st, Thursday, July 1st. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but that whole weekend, the 4th of July weekend, is going to be pretty awesome because I'll have a Thursday night show with some people popping in, but I'm going to be running. I'll be co-running with Patrick Reed all the panels up at the Northeast Comic-Con and Collectibles Show in Boxborough, Massachusetts. So some people who you can expect to see that week: Jim Shooter will be around that weekend. Billy West, Kreskin, Nicholas Brendan, a whole bunch of cool people will be here, some voice actors. And that Thursday night, I can almost guarantee we'll have a nice little chat with Nicholas Brendan and Billy West at some point over that weekend. So that will be that. And then July 8th, we'll be back to our regular Incredichats. I have Father Evil and Cosplay Jesus. If you're
yeah, those guys are they'll be shows for a long time. They've been doing comic shows at least 20 years.
Very, very, very good guys. Yes, Billy West. We'll have Billy West in a couple of weeks. Will be with us. So stay tuned for that. So there's a lot of cool things coming up. And then, who knows what else we have. We're going to do some Super Friends shows in the summer. A lot of cool guests coming up. So
awesome.
That's what's going on. So Anthony, Ray, thank you for joining us tonight here on Incredichat. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Ray, you've been on here a billion times, but Anthony, I'm so glad we got you on here.
Yeah, can I throw my website out there? www.bxhcc.com or just Google Bronx Heroes.
Bronx Heroes, Ray Felix.
Yep.
and Facebook, Instagram for Bronx Heroes, for Alterniverse.
And TikTok.
And I don't know if Anthony, but you can order those books from Ray, and then Anthony, you do mail order stuff, you do car pickup, whatever you need. So if you need comic books, you see all those great CGCs, Marvel Legends, Star Wars toys, those exclusives.
Yeah.
Go to Alterniverse, one of the best stops, one of the best places to go to here in the Hudson Valley, and a big supporter of us of Incredicon. So I appreciate that, Anthony, too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Ray, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so
we
folks,
appreciate it.
Awesome, and thank you for everybody who joined us tonight. So we will. Pepper Potts appreciates us. So I will see everybody in 2 weeks. Like I said, Grazi will be here next week, so definitely tune in for more Incredichat next weekend, folks. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care.